Hey guys, West Coast Picks here, and today I just want to show you all my security pin lathe that I hand made out of one of these old cordless drills. It was a 14 volt, but my power supply goes up to 13 something. It runs it just fine. The only thing you don't see in this video is where this cable is going is to my input power supply, which is an old laptop charger. What's it put out here? It puts out 15 volt, 2.7 amp. So at 15 volt, it gives me like 13.6 volt max, which pretty good for a 14 volt drill. But you can use a power supply anywhere from, bare minimum, you'd probably want to use a 12 volt because that'll drop you down to about 10 and a half, maybe 11, all the way up to. Ultimately, you probably want like a 16 volt, which will drop you down to about 14. So anyway, this is just an old cordless drill. This is the high-low setting here that I just use an elastic band to keep it onto the high setting. If you want, you can switch the elastic band over onto the low setting. Have power button. This is a 10-turn potentiometer. This was actually an old power supply that I made. You keep your tools down in the bottom here, so you could have your pins in there, and your box cutter, which is what I use for serrated pins, your tweezers and everything in there. Going to separate the power supply later. It's just a variable power supply I made from LM317T. It's a variable power supply, and this is a 10-turn potentiometer. So this was actually like a small little bench power supply that I had for electronics projects for a long time. And I just repurposed it for this because it makes it good. You can control the speed. So I can bring the speed right down to a slow crawl where it's still you can hear it bogging down, but it's not going to stop. And I can turn it all the way up. And it's pretty much like a full battery on the drill. So anyway, let's chuck up a pin. See if we can get some serrations in it. With our cool little, let's not use that one, our cool little pin lathe. There we go, nice big long driver, or key pin that I can easily put serrations into. So you tighten it up, start spinning, and I use just regular razor blade for serrations. Makes the tightest serrations, guys. Alright. There we go. So it's working great. This was the first run since I just made it, so you guys can see, or maybe can't. There we go. Some nice serrations in there. Let's see if it's strong enough to turn out a spool. And for a spool, I just use a file with a nice square edge. So we'll put a spool right at the back of this pin here. Go. Chuck it good. On max, and just going to pick a file with a nice square edge. You don't want a rounded edge, it has to be flat if you want the spool, otherwise it'll give you a rounded spool and you don't want that. You want a nice deep flat spool. Alright. Working pretty good. Here it's got this file is one-sided. Oh yeah. Oh crap. I just spilled a glass of water beside me all over my leg, but whatever. Small price to pay for a good spool, right? Let's see. And yeah, that did a really good job. So this thing looks like it's gonna work out for me, guys. It's come on, there we go. It's not finalized. You can see that's a nice sharp spool with a couple serrations on that key pin now. I don't know why there's a spool on a key pin. It doesn't really do anything, but just testing the machine out. So this isn't final. There's going to be some structural changes made up here. I'm going to have better mounts than obviously strips of aluminum pop can to strap it down, and hot glue and cardboard to hold everything at the level. That's obviously going to be all changed out. Probably pieces of wood with, cradling pieces of wood that look good. These will probably be swapped out for actual nice metal tie down bolt things. So I also won't have the screws poking through on the lid, which isn't that big of a deal, but it doesn't look that good. Probably have a compartment for like sectionized here, piece of wood compartment to protect the electronics from when I put my tools and everything in this side, right? So I'll have a little compartment there. And also maybe a fan, because this way these converters, the power converter, or sorry, the voltage regulator works is it dissipates the excess voltage in heat. So that's why I've got this giant piece of aluminum heat sink on there, and it does heat up after a while. I mean, it's not too hot right now, but if you're doing a bunch of pins and you're at it for an hour, it's going to heat up. So maybe a fan in this back compartment here somewhere out the back or something, a little laptop fan. Yeah, that's about it. Maybe a power indicator for the thing being on, but I don't think it needs it. It's fairly obvious when it's on. But yeah, that's it so far, guys. It'll run off of a 12-volt battery. You can plug it into a cigarette lighter, a wall wart, which is what I have right now. Yeah, that's my pin lathe prototype. It's going to be a little different in the future, and you might see it again, but that's the way it stands now. Later, guys.